Hey there guys, welcome to Creator Showcase, where we attempt to find your next favorite content creator. My guest today has a heart as big as his energy and as loud as his voice. It's everybody's favorite variety guy. It's Goobers515. It's so good to have you on the show, man. How you going?
I'm good. It's been a long road to get to this point,
Dude,
but
we did it. We're here.
it finally happened. It's been like, I was thinking about this, like, I think it might have been like a year. Like it's been, or maybe half a year
Yeah.
trying to get this going, something
Yeah,
like that.
it's been a while. It's been a while. But yeah, so glad to finally have you here, man. And you just moved house, didn't you?
I did. Yeah, I have a tendency to move a lot for some reason, which is never intended, but it happens. So,
Yeah.
I moved. So I'm still in the greater Seattle area.
Yeah.
I was in the boonies essentially.
Right.
Because in Seattle you can go from downtown skyscrapers to the backwoods boonies on a short ferry ride, real quick, which was interesting. So I lived was on the peninsula for a while, which is like, you know, if you look at a map and you see like up in the right corner there with Washington, like it looks like it's got like a hangnail, you know, that little bit coming off there, you know, that part. Yeah, I lived in the hangnail, right?
Right. Okay.
That's where I was at. So and then, you know, I moved back closer to civilization, which is good because now with people getting back up to speed and actually being able to hang out with my friends and stuff, it's gonna be much easier to see everybody rather than taking an entire boat ride. So,
and the room looks great.
Oh, thank you.
Yeah.
Work in progress, as it always is. It will never not be, but yeah, I think it's good.
Yeah, awesome. You're a variety streamer on Twitch. But I also, like, when I first started watching you, I also had to checked out your Instagram page, and you do a lot of, like, I saw a lot of like visual art on there, like, you know, some kind of like sort of street art inspired stuff, and like I really dig the one with the security camera and the beams of light coming out from behind it.
Oh yeah.
Are you still painting? How long have you done that for?
So I have always wanted to do spray paint art, not like graffiti, but like spray paint art. Graffiti's cool and like part of it, and I really like, there's some major artists out there that I absolutely love. And that was, you know, something that I've always had is in the back of my head. I wanted to do. I randomly one day was just like, you know what, fuck it, like let's just give it a go, like let's just try it. And I went to, like, I don't know, Hobby Lobby, it was like a craft store, and bought the cheapest paint possible, and had a what did I paint on? Oh, it was cardboard. It was just a big cardboard mat. Like, it was the thing that they delivered, that plastic mat that goes underneath your chairs.
Yep.
Your computer chairs. So like a huge flat piece, right? And I was just like, oh, whatever, man. I'm just gonna do it. And I did it, and it was cathartic. It was really good. Like, it's just making art and stuff. And
awesome.
It's funny because I have 2 art degrees, and it's like, oh, weird. Making art is cathartic. That's strange, you know?
Yeah.
So.
But it's nice to get back in touch with it, right? Like to actually, you know, like you said, just say fuck it, I'm gonna start doing it, and it is really rewarding.
Yeah, absolutely. I know that. To answer your other question is if I'm still doing it. So unfortunately, no. That kind of art requires a lot of space and a lot of stuff. My easel is, I think as tall as I am. It can get to be taller than I am. Like, it can actually get up to like 12 feet. It's crazy. The canvases are, you know, measured in feet. And all of the spray paint, it's a wide area, and you can't do it indoors because fumes and you'll get paint everywhere, and it's just, you'll ruin. I rent, like, I don't own this place.
Yeah.
So I don't do it anymore. And it was an unfortunate thing, but also not a terrible thing, because and I know we'll get into this later talking about variety casting and stuff, but spreading yourself too thin can be a problem.
Mm.
And that was something that I definitely did. I definitely made the error of, I mean, it was good intentioned. It was something that like I know that my community really loved to be a part of and had the opportunity to support. Um, and you know, there was definitely a naive or inexperienced overextension of my own abilities or my you know what it would take to fully do a full-time variety casting gaming channel that also has a very substantial part of it being art.
Mm.
um and that's not easy. That's extremely difficult.
Man,
So
even just being a variety streamer is you know like a huge task in
yeah,
itself.
absolutely.
But good on you for, you know, giving it a crack. And like, you know, like, because I think that's also really important in Twitch, is to, you know, incorporate as much of yourself into your channel as you can. So
Yeah.
like, you know, yeah, it didn't work, but you took a risk and, you know, you bowled with it.
And right, and it's like it gave me some awesome memories. It's given me character to my stream. Like,
Mm,
you know, it's something that like I do not regret for a moment. I feel obviously like I feel bad that I can't do that for the community and stuff, but there is an understanding of like
mm.
I'm just one dude, you know.
Yeah, for
And so
sure.
um so it isn't around anymore. But it was definitely a cool moment while it lasted and a defining moment and something that like I think that like, you know, you see a lot of streamers go through these kind of phases of like discovering who they are.
Definitely.
um when you start out, it's just like, oh, it's crazy, it's nuts, everything, and you're just grasping at things, right? You're just doing things because it's streamer stuff and that's cool.
Yeah.
And then you get to the point where you're like, okay, well, I got that, now where do I fall into that? And
Mm-hmm.
you start to experiment, and which is great, it's good. Like, you should fail, right? You should try things and fail at them,
Mm,
so that you can check that off the list and move by, and
mm.
you've learned a great deal from that. And then eventually you come to a point where you understand your brand and your identity more so than ever, because you have had those, you've understood like where the walls are, where your boundaries are.
Mm.
And the better you define that, the more you know yourself and yourself on stream, or your stream identity or your brand, the more you know what you like and what you don't like to do by experience, the more you can hone in and focus on what makes you you, and consequently what makes your stream different and unique.
So on that, how long have you been streaming on Twitch, and when did you start?
So my first stream was November 2014. um and I had my friend over, and we got drunk, ate pizza, played Binding of Isaac, and screamed at chat that wasn't there. We just kept yelling, "Hey chat, what are you doing? Hey chat, what are you doing? What's up? What are you doing?" Nobody was watching, and it was great. So that was 2014. That was back in Iowa. Iowa is where I was born and grew up, and there's just corn. There's just corn. I like, my channel is full of corn memes, but it's because like, and you can see in the back, like it's everywhere.
Yeah.
But it's true. It's a farm state, so that's where I was from. That's where I was, and that's where I started streaming. And in 2015, I had an amazing opportunity with some people that lived out here, who were mods of mine, and they said they knew that I wanted to get out of Iowa. I always wanted to leave Iowa because there's really wasn't anything for me. I love the people there, love where I'm from, but there's not enough for me and what I want there. And so I think it was 2015 that I left, and they offered me to move in with them. And I was originally going to move out here and get a job in the tech industry. I moved out here, was working, we called it the shoebox, but it was essentially, I had everything packed in my car, my old Saab that had 200,000 miles on it. and it was me, my 2 guinea pigs at the time, and and all of my computer stuff, and that was pretty much it. I drove across the country, moved into their place, into one of their extra bedrooms, which was, I want to say it's probably like 7 or 8 feet by 10 feet at most. So it wasn't big, but
No.
I crammed in halfway into a closet and streamed in this small little walk area between the wall and the bed. And I searched for a job and I streamed, and I did that for a year. They were wonderful people because they were supportive of me. Fanny and Mist, if you're watching this, you're incredible people, and you deserve all the love and respect because I'm not the only person they've done that for, which is great.
That's so cool.
But they were just I would lovingly refer to them as the 2 Pacific Northwest hippies, because they're just hippies that want to help people, and it's great.
That's so cool.
So I streamed there. I got partnered in 2016 while I was playing Doom 2016, which was super big and important for me and my identity and channel because I love Doom.
Mm-hmm.
After that had happened, there was a real serious talk where they kind of sat me down. I was calling them my Seattle parents, but they're like 5 years older than me. They're not that much older than me.
Mm-hmm.
And they sat me down and they're like, "Hey, listen, you should give this streaming thing a shot. Like, you've obviously got what it takes. You're making money. You're not putting all of your focus and effort into it because you're trying to find a job. But you could do this. You could do this." And I'm like, okay, well, what would that mean? And basically I looked at all the numbers and I'm like, could I manage this? And it's like, okay, well, if I do this, then, am I going to be able to afford it? I decided to go full time and had someone move out who wanted to move out of the East Coast. He moved to Washington, and we moved in together in a massive house, a 3,000 square foot house. It was enormous. And then I started my full-time streaming career. I will say this to everybody watching: don't even think about doing what I did. Do not do that. What I did was I got lucky. And it's when you get partnered, that's hi, welcome to the beginning. Like, welcome to the start. Getting partnered is not some end all goal. And in fact, if it is an end all goal, you'll burn out. You have no hope. Like, and I don't mean that negatively. I mean that, like, partnership doesn't mean anything unless you make something of it. It's a gateway to do more work. And you gotta be looking well past partnership. And yeah, it should be a stepping stone because you should need that to do more. And that more should be very clearly defined by you. And I went for it. And I just went for it. And then, yeah, from there, it just kind of, things continued on and I kept grinding away. And awesome. Here we are, almost 7 years. Yeah, so 6, 7. It'll be 7 in November. 7 years after my first ever stream. I am now considered old guard on Twitch, which is interesting, but doesn't bug me at all. So, yeah.
How did you get involved with Wick, and how does being on that stream team sort of play into your everyday life as a streamer, or like, how does it affect it?
So being on a team is worthwhile. It's been good. I mean, the story goes is that Wick has been around since before I was a streamer. I had just started streaming and I was watching this person, and this person knew that I was a streamer, or just, was new to it. And one day I got a DM from them saying, "Hey, I'd like you to join my stream team." And I was just like, wonder what stream team is this? And I see and look it up. Holy shit, it's WIK, it's Wick, it's Would You Kindly. This is a big deal. And I'm looking at the names and who they are, and I'm like, oh, these are big names. This is crazy, Back in the day, that was Will Shand, Skin Teen. God, there was a good amount of people on there, and it was Overboard Gaming's team. And so I was just like, oh my God, that's crazy. And then I DM'd him and I was just like, hey, listen, man, like, and cause I didn't even have 1,000 followers yet. Like I had nothing. I had nothing. Like, and I was like, hey man, I am absolutely enthralled and honored and would accept in a heartbeat. I do gotta ask though, this is, I, I don't compare much to these guys, which like small note to everybody, don't ever say that. Don't ever doubt yourself. If take an opportunity, if it's a good one and it's real and it's legit, take it. Don't doubt yourself. But I did, and I asked him that, and he said, "Oh, my bad, dude. I didn't mean that. I meant my personal stream team." Because he had set up a team on his channel for the broadcasters that watch him, and he wanted to invite me to that. And I was like, "Oh, okay." And you know, they were all very much more at the time my level. So now fast forward like a year and a half, I had met Firecrow and Farrington Empire, and I think Pixel Monkey Gaming at the time. Met them and knew them. Great. Firecrow and Farrington were massive components of my success early on. They were much bigger than me. They were very interested in supporting me, and as much as I could support them, I did. And they gave me some real insight in they really gave me a start to the industry. They approached me later and said, hey, listen, there's a group of us that want to start a team. And it was Firecrow, Farrington, Romcom, Pixel Monkey Gaming. I'm missing somebody, but those four plus me, or Romcom at the time, the Rom Show now. And then they wanted me in there. And we wanted to start our own team. So I was like, oh, okay, cool. That I would be super down for that. That'd be awesome. And then they were like, well, let's reach out to like OBG. Like, we know Overboard Gaming, like they're good guys, but they do have their own team, but they might be willing to do this, you know, because they don't do much with that team. And at the time, Wick wasn't doing much. They were a team by name. And they had some things that had happened early on, but not a lot. So we approached them with this idea, and our team name, not many people know this, but the proposed team that would have been, if OBG had said no, would have been the Distinguished International Gamers, otherwise known as DIG. That was going to be it, and our phrase was going to be, can you dig it? Yeah.
Oh yeah.
So that was the pitch, and OBG said, well, hey, listen, we have this team. We have a semi-setup, infrastructure, if you will, foundation of a team set up. We have people on here, but we don't do a lot with them. What I had observed at the time, because I had seen a lot of teams. I had seen a lot of teams, and the ones that worked and didn't work. The ones that worked really well had some strict shit going on in the background. You have meetings. You have requirements here and there. Like, we have a rules list, or a I don't know, like, I don't know how to explain it, but like a
level of expectation sort of deal.
Yes, yeah, yep, and a very detailed written out document to describe that. And I said, you know, like,
it's almost like starting a business. Like it's yes, sort of like a brand vision and, like, you know, sort of brand values.
Absolutely. And that's what it really was, is like, okay, we're going to take this seriously. We're going to make something of this. Because at the time, you know, before all this stuff happened recently, you know, Main Menu was the team at the time. They were the big team. And they had at least shown what a team on Twitch can do to the highest effect. So we basically said this. We said, there's a whole bunch of people here, and we can go through them because there's some good casters on there, and we can offer them and say, like, hey, listen, the team is going to have a reformatting. We're going to basically say, here is the new set of expectations. If you're down for that, by all means, stick around. If you're not down for that, though, like, let's call it what it is and part ways, and no harm, no foul, no bad feelings at all. And so we had mostly everybody leave from that. And I don't think that there's anybody on the team still that was from that, aside from Rom and OBG. And so we offered them that, and then we came in there and we reformatted the team from the ground up. And the way that affects the daily life, the way that it is an important aspect of it, is a couple things. Number one, they are my closest friends on Twitch. By far, they are my closest friends. They are my colleagues. They are my friends. And they're there to say the things that I need to hear, whether or not I'm going to like it. And it's important to have that check. And we talk to each other. We say that. And our basis, the founding tenet of Would You Kindly after the reformat was communication. Past that, our goal has been really showcasing how streamers can do things that aren't just copy and paste, and show the value of what streamers can do if they are organized well. Talk about failing from earlier. Our first ever event was an event that I hunted down. Was a game called Bombshell from 3D Realms. If my team is watching this, they're gonna be laughing right now. So Bombshell was, ironically, a fucking bombshell. It was a bust. A Bombshell was a terrible game. Yeah, Bombshell was awful. It was made by the guys who made Duke Nukem, so I was really excited. And I'm like, oh my god, like this would be awesome, you know. And so I hunted that down, and it was shit. It was a top-down shit. And it was awful. It was terrible. Yeah. We did an event for it. Everybody hated it. It was bad. It was bad. And to this day, like 5 years later, I still get jokes. I'm the bombshell guy. Cause it's like, oh, this is gonna be another bombshell, is it? I'm like, no, fuck off. You know, like we learned there. We basically said, okay, like we gotta pay attention here a little bit more to what's going on. Sometimes that's gonna happen, right? Games can look good, they can be marketed real well, but sometimes they're just gonna be bad. So that was the first one. The second one was a much better success, and that was Death Road to Canada. We did a launch event for Death Road to Canada, and I knew the dev. He's Seattle. He's from Seattle out here. I got to meet with him, and I said, like, hey, like, we want to do an event with you, but we don't just want to play the game. Like, that's boring. Like, let's spice it up. So we had as many people join as possible. We streamed at the same time, and we had a race to Canada to see if we could make it. It's a roguelike, so it's random. Like, shenanigans happen. Yeah. And the wager is that if we made it, we would all be put into the game as, I believe playable characters, or there would be some sort of like addition into the game where it would be like, they're awesome. Wow, Wick. Or if we lost, there would be a testament to our failure. And we're like, done. Solid. That sounds awesome.
That's really cool.
We failed. Because of course we did. It's a hard game. And you get just nobody starts a roguelike or rogue whatever. I call them roguey boys because there's roguelite and light.
And roguelite, yeah.
Nobody plays one of those games from the beginning and wins. No. Like, that's impossible. It's really hard. That's the point, right?
Yeah.
So we didn't make it, and we got added into the game as a very slim chance. If you play it today, there is a very slim chance that you will come across an area that has a radio station. And the radio station is WYK Radio. When you go inside, there are like 6 or 7 skeletons hopping around, not attacking you, but just hopping around. And they are named after each one of us.
That's so I'm in the game, cool.
And each one of us has phrases. You can talk to those characters or whatever. And I think mine was just screaming gibberish. Like, I have no idea. That's because that's what I was at the time. And we had all these phrases and stuff, and we ended up in the game as these things. And you at some point you get this dialogue pop up that pops up, and it just says, you don't really know what this place is, but whatever it is, it reeks of failure. So that was awesome. That was super cool. That was our first big win. It was a big deal.
Is Metal Meal Meltdown affiliated with Wick? And can you tell us a bit about that?
So Metal Meal Meltdown is actually not affiliated with Wick.
Right.
Metal Meal Meltdown is actually myself and my community. It was started independent of that.
Amazing.
As a community member who basically said, like, hey, I have this idea for, like, what if we do like a barbecue grill out or something like that across multiple streams, and we like host each other and stuff, and like, just do that. Like, we'll just do that as an event. Awesome. And they kind of pitched that to me. And shout outs to W. Scott. Like, thank you. You know who you are. he wrote up a document. It was fairly detailed because he likes cooking and stuff. And I read it. And I'm like, this is really cool. I really like this, and I haven't seen this anywhere. Would you mind if I? And I told him, I was like, would you mind if I adapted this and made this a charity event for our community? He's like, I don't know, go for it. That'd be really cool. And I said, okay, cool. You like metal music, right? And he's like, yeah. I'm like, cool. So not only is it going to be a cooking themed charity event, it's also going to be a metal cooking themed charity event. And so we planned to have a marathon style event where for 1 week, 7 days, somebody would always be streaming on their own channel, cooking metal inspired meals, raising money for St. Jude Children's Research Hospital, and just rocking the fuck out and being fucking goofballs.
What was the goal that you pitched to reach? Sorry, as in like the financial goal?
Yeah. So I think our goal to start was, so I'm bad at setting goals. I've historically always been. I think it was like $2,000. On our first year, I think we raised 18,000, something like
Amazing, man.
that. Which was a big deal. It was a huge success. Like, super proud of that. And I think that was the first year. Every year it just kept growing. We didn't. So, and it was built out of the community members. Like, you didn't have to be a streamer. That was the big thing. Is like, you didn't have to be a big old streamer, because the idea is that the hosting of everybody else would send people on. It would just build over time because somebody's always live. And it took us 4 years, up until last year, to finally get a full 24-hour loop for the entire event.
Wow.
And it's really hard. Imagine like organizing like, I don't know, what is it, like 40 people or something like that?
It's
like 40 streams. It's a lot of work. But we finally got it last year, and it worked, dude. It worked so well. It was 18,000. I think it was something like 30 something thousand the second year.
Mm-hmm.
The third year was like mid 40s. And then this last year was over 70.
Amazing, man.
And we broke 100,000 and 150,000 raised for St. Jude in 1 year.
That's really powerful stuff. You know, that's really exciting.
It seemed to have worked pretty well. And you know, we'll be going again this year. And hey, if you want to join, like, follow me on Twitter for the signups, because it's open to everybody. We just got to know who you are and all that good stuff. It carries a lot of weight when you got that 24-hour loop, and it's very much our own style. It's funny because a lot of the, you know, metal stuff, you know, brimstone fire, you know, pentagrams, all that shit.
Yeah.
We like having that stuff, but some of the things we got to be careful with, because I want to work with St. Jude Play Live, the group that, you know, handles streaming, the streaming side of the fundraising for St. Jude.
Mm-hmm.
And I just had a conversation with them at one point, and they're like, yeah, we can't really retweet anything that's got like pentagrams and Satan on it. I'm like, yeah, that's fair. That's fair.
Cool.
That makes sense. That's fair. Yeah, that's fair. So we've got our own little style there, and we've worked with them for years now. And, you know, big shout outs to them, because the Play Live team has helped me immensely. We have a much harder goal this year, if it's possible. I'm nervous about it, because it's a very lofty goal, and it's the next reasonable goal, which is to break 100,000 raised in 1 week, in one event, which is a big deal. That's very difficult to do, especially considering,
for sure,
you know, the jump in which we had.
But hey, like, you know, watching your stream and others' streams, you know, sort of being there for at least a few hours of that ride, the generosity, like, and this goes out to Goobs community and, you know, everyone that's a part of it, is, you know, it took me aback. But yeah, also, like, you guys are awesome. Like, and thanks for all the work that you do, Goobs, and your community. Yeah.
Big shout outs to the mod squad as well for helping organize. My mods are workhorses, and they do a hell of a job when it comes to all that. So it's it's taken years to figure out how to make that machine move. It's like mid-November. No, I'm sorry. It'll be late November because Thanksgiving is on November 23rd, I think.
Well, that's even more of a reason to go give Goobs a follow and head over there, check it out, late November. Talking about streaming, so like I really love, like you were saying, like with your team and stuff, talking is a huge part of that. You know, really open lines of communication, telling people things they maybe don't want to hear. I have sort of, you know, a group of streamers that I sort of catch up with pretty regularly, and we chat about things, and that's, you know, been really motivating, really important to me. Something that has come up a few times is the topic of variety streaming, and, you know, sort of how difficult it is, especially, you know, like starting up, to sort of get into and maintain and sort of grow. And I followed you through a lot of games. You know, I think I came in with like Mountain Blade 2. I watched you play Ori, a bunch of other, like, you know, sort of really fun like platformers and stuff like that. And the Rust RP series was like fantastic.
It's coming back, man.
Yeah,
it's
awesome.
coming back in a couple
wait.
months.
That was honestly like, that was probably some of my favorite content I've seen you do. But anyway, my question is, have you always been a variety streamer? And was streaming just one game sort of ever an option?
Yes, I have been a variety caster. I have severe ADHD, so I don't really have a choice. But I've always been a variety caster. Yeah, I mean, I started out watching variety streamers, you know, and really loved the communities and stuff. It's really hard. It's extremely hard. Could I stream just one game? Maybe. I probably wouldn't be able to do it because I would get bored of the game and then want to do something else, and I have poor impulse control, so I just do it. What you do when you play one game, so on Twitch it's a constant balance between community building and growth. Community building and growth. It's a teetering act. When you play a one game and you play that exclusively for a long amount of time, you are at that point growing your community by pulling in people and then them knowing you're going to be back here tomorrow to play that game or whenever your next stream is. So I can count on that. And I really like this game. We can bond over that. That's great. When it comes to variety casting, we don't have that as much. You have that a bit, right? You get bits and pieces of people coming in on variety streams and figuring out what's going on. But the trick with variety casting is not selling new viewers and new watchers on you, the game, and the bond between those two things and the viewer. You're selling them on yourself almost exclusively. And your stream and your community, everything except for the game, which is one of the big reasons that so many people in my community know and say, and rightly so, that people don't come here for the game, man. And
it's true.
They're not wrong. And it's because of the fact that being a variety caster, a lot of it has to do with the fact that you are selling this, you know, become part of this identity of us. Like, we'd love to have you here. We'd love to have you as part of this bigger thing, you know, this group of people. And that comes with its own challenges, where, you know, sometimes there's some people that want to be a part of that and are problematic in their own right and need to be removed. And it's tough when they've been around there for a long time in the community and they start doing dumb shit. It's hard. You know, I've had to remove mods and long time viewers, years of viewers. And that sucks, man. That sucks. That is straight up stonewalling someone who you've known for a long time and they've supported you, you know, not only just by watching, but potentially, you know, financially as well. But it's important because it is like you have to have that to maintain the quality of the community that you want you're building.
For sure.
I will say there is a way to do variety casting that is more in the realm of the playing one game kind of style, where you're just grabbing new people and then you are bonding between them, you, and your love for, in this case, not the game, that game, but many games,
multiple games. Yep.
And you are a to be a real, like, I don't want to say true variety caster because that's a bullshit phrase, but
yeah,
to be that kind of a variety caster requires an insane amount of knowledge, awareness, and work to be up to date on everything that's going on in the game industry, being very accurate towards what's gonna stream well, and being ahead of the curve. Like that's what that is, you know. And I got good friends, and I would argue that like Romcom, or the Rom Show rather, so I've known him for so many years, and he changed his name recently, so it's really hard for me to switch. The Rom Show is very good at that. He is extremely good at that. He plays a game for no more than like a day or two, like a stream or two, and then he moves on, and that's all based on metrics, right? He used to play similar games for many streams in a row, and then he just realized this is not working. I gotta figure something else out, and he figured out based on his metrics that like he needs to keep things fresh and moving all the dang time. Now, this is not to say that Romcom or the Rom Show does not have a community. He has an incredible community. He absolutely does. But he has a very, very good awareness of what's happening in the industry. I don't. I'm not interested in like knowing what are all these crazy new games coming out and like what's the right one and then all this. Like, that's not what I'm streaming for. I'm streaming for the stupid moments where, you know, 2 streams ago we found a Cheems translator where you could put in text, and I don't know if you know what the meme, the Cheems dog meme is, but it just changed the text and we put it through the translator, and like I'm not playing a game, but that was like a solid hour and a half of just hilarity. Yeah. Right? Like that's the stuff that's going down, right?
For sure.
It's the moments in between, and the game is arguably the background noise. It doesn't always have to be, but the vast swaths of it, it's kind of background noise. Yeah. And that's totally fine, you know? So being a variety streamer is really confusing and difficult because it changes every year. You always have to be able to adjust, move, reinvent yourself, while at the same time protecting your community identity and your brand without adjusting it too much to disturb those who are already there. You also have to be aware of what's going on in the industry, what to play, what not to play, who to play with, when to play these things. Like the list goes on and on and on. I think I'm lucky in the sense of I don't have a choice. I don't have a choice. I am a variety caster. Yeah. I would not be able to do a
that kind of game. Simplifies it though for you in a way. Like, not to say that variety casting is simple, but it's cool. Sure. Like, I think that's something that I'm really struggling with at the moment, is going like, the net's so huge, you know, and I've kind of flip-flopped around. I'm only in my first year, but like, you know, flip-flopped around, and now I'm probably feeling more lost than you know I have been for a long time with it. And so yeah, I think that's great though, just making a decision, or like not making a decision, being left with that as the only option, and just going with it. But that's cool, you know, like that's.
I mean, I'll tell you this, and this is to you and anybody else here, is that variety casting is the slowest form of growth on Twitch. It is very slow. Yeah. You're not going to get huge numbers. However, what you're doing with like the power of having one more viewer than you normally do is so much more powerful than somebody who just plays, you know, Fortnite, Valorant, whatever, exclusively. Because that person that's watching those games, that viewer, is there for the game and the broadcaster. And if any part of that triangle falters, it crumbles. In variety casting, the relationship and the focus is on the content in between the game. And it is focused on the community, the viewer themselves, and the broadcaster. That's your triangle. And because of that, all they have to do is just be there. It doesn't matter what the broadcaster's playing. They know that they just have to be there, and they know that they'll get what they want out of it. They'll get what you're offering, and if they're interested, they'll stick around. So what I'm saying is you have longevity. You have you are more concrete. You can last longer. You are more agile, but it takes a long time to build up those numbers. I would say the other thing to keep in mind for anybody who is looking to do variety casting almost never means that you will play anything. It like, could you? Yes, I play. I have Dwarf Fortress open on my stream right now. On my screen right now. We jokingly call it the stream death game because it doesn't stream well for me.
No,
it doesn't. I've streamed it like twice, and I don't do it. We always joke about it, right? You know, but it's called a stream death game for a reason. So I can't stream that.
So it's not to say that like you just play whatever you want. There's still careful planning that goes into it.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
You cannot play just because your friend is playing a game and you personally might like that game. You have to understand how you playing that game and interacting with a stream and being your streamer self works together. And you got to learn how to predict that. That is arguably the hardest thing about being a variety caster. Like, what games do I play? Doom, RP stuff, anything with a lot of loud noises. Like, I'm doing my Souls run right now. Like, there's energy there, right? For me, there's energy. And if it doesn't have that, I have to come up with some other way to compensate for that. So, for example, in Dwarf Fortress, I tried to be like, okay, well, I'll name all the dwarves after chat members, and then we'll see what they do. And we'll laugh when somebody inevitably dies or whatever. And even that doesn't work all the time, and it didn't. So I would say to everybody is understand that there's a good phrase that I always bring up. I think it was Zeke that said this on one of the first ever drop frame shows. Accentuate your idiosyncrasies, which just means play up what makes you weird.
Yeah.
Who are you? What do you do? What's that thing that, like, part of you that you can identify personally that is super strange and different and make people go, what the fucking, huh? And just laser in on that. I'm loud as fuck.
Yeah.
That's my thing. I'm loud as shit.
Yeah.
I have genetically, my family is loud. I was a goalkeeper in high school, so I yelled at everyone on the goddamn field all the time.
Yeah.
I was louder than my coach. Like, you know, and I was just sports and all sorts of stuff, always yelling. Like, never, not in a bad way. I was like getting loud.
Yeah.
And when it came to streaming, it was just like, okay, I'm the loud guy. Got it.
And it works.
That's my brand.
Because it's you. Yeah.
That's me.
Yeah.
What I do.
I feel
so
it.
That's important to understand for a streamer. Who are you? How do people know you? Like, I used to tell people to, like, and I don't know if this is so true, but like, you get the idea is, understand your brand in a sentence, right? I just said mine. I'm a loud guy, right? I've grown a little. I've changed a little bit. I'm not as loud as I used to be, but I'm still very much the loud guy.
Yeah.
Get that down to like a sentence or two or something short, very short. It should just feel natural. And then take that and go, okay, loud guy, micromanagement, Dwarf Fortress, quiet time. Are these gonna no? So don't play that.
Yeah.
Okay.
That's a really, really good way of summarizing that, though. Like, that I've never heard anyone summarize it in that way before, and that is, you know, that already for me, like, light bulbs are going off as far as that's concerned. So that's, and would you say that would be your? Because I ask everyone that comes on the show this, Goose, and we are running out of time. Would you say that would be your sort of golden piece of advice? Is figure out your brand identity, or would you have sort of something else to leave with the viewers today?
I actually have another one for people who are new. to streaming.
Mm-hmm.
If you are brand new to streaming,
Mm-hmm.
and it has only been, let's say, like less than 6 months of streaming,
Mm-hmm.
do not, whatever you do, look at your damn metrics and judge what you should be doing based off your metrics. 6 months. That's a long time. But make yourself do it. Because during that 6 months, if you have goals of taking streaming bigger than a hobby, if you have goals, you have 6 months of learning why streaming is something that you love and what about it makes it so wonderful to do. If you don't know that, if you don't find that out because it's blocked by, well, I got to play this game and metrics say this and they're playing that and all that stuff, push that shit to the side. You got to know who you are and what you love about streaming first. And then after those like 6 months, it's a long time, but after those 6 months, you come back and you take all that and you go, all right, I know what I want. I know who I am. I know why I like streaming. Now I'm going to apply it to all of this information that I have before me. And now I'm going to make some educated decisions because I know who I am and I'm going to use this to improve what I've taken so long to understand. If you do not do that, you will have no foundational understanding and basis for why you stream in the first place. And you have to have that.
That's awesome. I needed to hear that as well. Dude, thank you so much for coming on the show, Goobs. I'm so glad we're here. I'm so glad we did it. Is there anything you'd like to say to the viewers or any of your viewers or anything before we leave, or we just wrap it up?
I mean, thank you so much for having me. I wouldn't be here without my incredibly insane, chaotic, neutral, wonderful community, the Goo. Like, I love all you guys. You guys are amazing. Yeah, if you're new out there, like, who gives a shit? Just remember that. Just who gives a shit? Just stream. Give it time. Understand who you are, and then if you want to give it a real crack, just know who you are first.
Awesome. Well, I've chucked all of Goob's links and Instagram, everything below. Make sure you go give him a follow on Twitch. Check out his streams. Make sure you head over there and check out Metal Meal Meltdown in November. And thanks again for coming on, and I'll see you guys in the next one. Catch you later.